British Airways Club World or Virgin Atlantic Upper Class? Which of the British airlines offers the best overall business class experience across all of their seat type variations? In this video, I'll break down each product from the experience on the ground in the lounges to the food and drink on board. Plus, I'll rank all 5 seat types across the 2 airlines to let you know which ones to book and which are best avoided. I'll tell you which airline is best across 8 different categories before crowning an overall winner in this business class battle of Britain. First up, it's check-in, and both airlines allow 2 32-kilo checked bags for business class passengers. On BA, you'll get a separate dedicated business class check-in area and access to fast-track security. But BA's most premium check-in area, its first wing, is reserved for those travelling first class or with gold status. With Virgin on the other hand, your upper class ticket grants you both the separate check-in area and access to Virgin's upper class wing, a completely separate entrance and check-in area, complete with a private security area which is much faster. Virgin takes the win here. Once through security, it's time for the lounge. With BA, if you're travelling from their home base at Heathrow Terminal 5, you'll have a choice of 3 lounges: the Galleries North Lounge, Galleries South Lounge, and the B-Gates Lounge. But as these cater both to short-haul and long-haul passengers, they can get very busy. The North Lounge is most conveniently located near security, but as such it tends to be the most full. The South Lounge has the biggest capacity, but could also get very busy. The B-Gates Lounge tends to be the least busy and is a bit more relaxing, but it does of course have the inconvenience of being located over in the B-Gates, so it can be a bit of a walk back if your flight departs from the A-Gates, although most long-haul flights will be going from the B and C gates, so you should be okay. All of these lounges have a variety of seating options, a buffet of food with quite a bit of variety both in terms of choices and quality. I've had some truly terrible and some very good food from here, but for the most part it's decent. Nothing special though. You'll also find bar areas with self-service beer, wine, sparkling wine, spirits, and sometimes some pre-mixed cocktails. There's no table service or a la carte dining, and the staff in these lounges generally don't seem to interact much with passengers aside from clearing away tables. With Virgin on the other hand, you'll have access to the Clubhouse Lounge at Heathrow Terminal 3. The Clubhouse has a variety of comfortable seating areas, a sit-down dining area, a full bar, relaxation spaces, and my favourite feature, the outdoor terrace. At the dining area, full a la carte meals and snacks are ordered via the menus with the very friendly staff that work in here, or you can order via the QR codes. But you're not just limited to the dining area, you'll actually find these QR codes in all seating areas to order food and drink wherever you're sitting. There's a good selection available, and I've always found the quality to be excellent, and an extensive menu of high quality cocktails is also greatly appreciated, alongside coffees, soft drinks, and unique options like electrolyte drinks to stay hydrated. The people who work in this lounge are really great too, very attentive, friendly, and provide great table service in all spaces of the lounge. Overall, a lovely place to spend a couple of hours before a flight. Significantly better food, drink, and the excellent service puts Virgin way ahead on this one. Hopefully planned BA lounge refurbishments might start to narrow that gap, but time will tell. For now though, Virgin takes the win. After the lounge, it's time to go board our flights and check out the seats. BA have 2 variations, whereas Virgin have 3. I'll start with BA. And I'll start with BA's older Club World seat. BA are slowly but surely phasing these out, but you'll still find them on their Gatwick flights, their A380s, and a small number of 787 aircraft out of Heathrow. They feature a yin-yang seat layout that's great for socialising when travelling with someone you know, but maybe a bit more awkward when seated next to a stranger. Thankfully, there's a privacy divider that you can put up once the safety demo has been completed, and it then becomes quite a private seat. Unlike many modern seat designs, including the Club Suite that we'll come on to soon, this seat doesn't have a restrictive foot cubby, so there's plenty of leg and foot space when stretched out or in lie flat mode. The big trade-off with that, however, is that in the majority of seats you may need to step over your seat neighbour, or they may need to step over you to get to the aisle. Only some of the bulkhead seats avoid this. The seat also shows its age in a lot of other areas too. The monitors are small and often don't respond well to touch controls, but they can be tilted to make it easier to watch when reclined. The tray table folds out from the side, but they're not always the most stable. Storage and charging is also pretty limited in this seat. Unless you're on an A380 window seat with the side storage bins, the only storage you'll have is this drawer by your feet, which is also where you'll find the power outlet. But on the majority of Heathrow-based aircraft, you'll now get the new Club Suite in business class. These are a modern reverse herringbone seat design, complete with a closing door, a good few convenient storage areas, and convenient charging options. The seat itself is very comfortable with a great adjustable recline, and there's a good amount of legroom, albeit with a more restrictive foot cubby by your feet. The screen ahead is modern and a good size, but this one can't be tilted down when you're reclined. The tray table here is great and makes it easy to get out of your seat when it's deployed. And overall, it's a much improved seat compared to the old one in a lot of ways. However, I do still prefer the older design on flights where I want to socialise or sleep. Now, let's see what Virgin are offering. In upper class, we have 3 very different seat types, and we'll go from oldest to newest. The oldest version, known by some as coffin class, can be found on Virgin 787s and their old A330s. It's a very dated business class product with a narrow herringbone layout that faces inwards and away from the window. You're very close to your seat neighbours here, and if you don't select the A seat, you'll be facing towards potentially a stranger or staring at their feet for the whole flight. The M-Flat entertainment screen in this one is small and dated, and in a bit of an awkward position that makes it quite difficult to have it deployed at the same time as using the tray table, which comes out from this side compartment. The tray table though is a good size, nice and sturdy, and can be slid away from you to get out of your seat whilst it's deployed. Storage is very limited here, just a small cubby under the IFE screen and a shelf over your shoulder. For charging, there's one universal outlet and one USB port. The seat here doesn't have the best recline, and it can't be fully reclined flat. For the bed mode, the seat actually flips forward into a lie flat position. More on that a bit later. The A350 seat, on the other hand, is a big improvement on this, and features a much more modern reverse herringbone layout, and a more modern overall design. Storage is still a bit limited, with a focus on shelves over enclosed storage spaces, which is not the most practical decision. The seat has good legroom, an excellent in-flight entertainment screen, and a slightly unusual tray table that deploys from the sidewall. To the side you get an adjustable armrest, and then rather than a proper closing door, you get a small privacy screen, which doesn't really do much. Good charging available, including a universal outlet and USB ports. The seat itself is comfortable enough and certainly an improvement on coffin class, but it's not the most comfortable overall, especially when compared to the BA seat for example. There's no headrest, and I found that the recline and seat adjustment buttons didn't work great, and some of these seats are showing some serious wear and tear. The A330-900neo has Virgin's most modern and in my view best business class seat. You get a private suite with a closing door, a more comfortable seat, a nice sized and modern IFE screen, great charging options in the form of a wireless charging pad, universal outlet, USB-A and USB-C ports, but like the other seats, storage is still pretty limited. The tray table is deployed from the side console here, and in even row seats which sit close to the window, you can't get out of the seat with the tray deployed. So pick an odd row seat which is close to the aisle if that's important to you. Another slight limitation here is the seat controls and adjustability, which, like the seat on the A350, I struggled a bit with to get it in a position that I wanted. So how do all these seats rank against each other overall? Well, in last place it's Virgin's coffin class, then the old BA Club World, Virgin's A350 is slightly above this, and then their A330neo, but the best seat overall of the bunch is BA's Club Suite. Plus, I'll give BA extra credit here for the fact that this is now their most common seat type, whereas Virgin's most common seat is the worst of the bunch, so an easy win for BA here. Before we take off, what do you get in terms of pre-departure service and amenities? On BA, you'll get a welcome glass of champagne and a full food and drinks menu. Your amenity kit will be stored somewhere in the seat. If the crew are on the ball, they'll greet you individually and take your meal order before takeoff. BA have recently ditched their long-standing white company amenity kits in favour of new ones that they've been trialling on their Gatwick routes. These are brighter, more colourful bags with different designs from different UK artists, and the products in here are provided by Anatomy and include a moisturiser and a multi-balm, alongside the standard items like eye mask, earplugs, dental kit and socks. On Virgin, pre-departure service is similar, with a glass of sparkling wine, but some additional service items that are route dependent. For example, they provided me with dates and Saudi coffee on their now discontinued Riyadh route. Orders from the menu might be taken pre-departure in upper class, although this isn't always the case. However, you can actually pre-order meals online in all classes of travel with Virgin. More on that when we come to the food. The amenity kit or goodie bag is a lot less exciting than BA's, but it has good contents, including some nice products from Ren. Get a moisturiser, hand cream and a lip balm. On overnight flights, pyjamas will also be provided, although I've found you can sometimes ask for these on daytime flights too. For the most part, there's really not a lot to differentiate the pre-departure service and amenities, but for me the inclusion of pyjamas on Virgin gives them a slight edge here. But now let's get up in the air and see how the onboard service compares. In BA Business Class you'll start with a hot towel and then a drink service. The menu has a small selection of cocktails and spirits, plus beer, wine, champagne and soft drinks. Not a bad range, but nothing insanely premium on offer here. Drinks are served in nice glasses alongside a bag of nuts, which are very tasty. Your meal will then be served in courses unless you opt for a speedy meal service on a night flight. You'll choose from light starters that are served alongside some bread and maybe a small side salad. Main courses follow, and whilst presentation is rarely a strong point and it is still served on a tray, food is generally decent, although I have found that the food quality can be very mixed on BA. Some great, some poor, and plenty that are just okay. Desserts are typically light but nice quality, and there's also the option of a cheese course. Later on in the flight you'll typically get a second meal that will be served on one tray for a quicker service. I've usually found these second meals to be not quite as good and typically have fewer choices available, for example only one dessert. But again, that quality isn't consistent on BA and breakfast is often a particular weak point. Outside of mealtimes you'll find snacks and drinks to help yourself to in the galley in what they call the club kitchen. Crew will also come around to offer additional drinks and snacks, but again, BA can be very inconsistent here, and on quite a few recent business class flights, service has been very limited or non-existent between the meal services. In Virgin Upper Class, the onboard service starts with a hot towel before the drinks are served. The drinks menu here is more extensive and includes cocktails, Laurent Perrier champagne, a good spirits and liquor selection which includes cognac, something I'm quite partial to that you won't find on BA. Plus plenty of non-alcoholic mocktails, teas and coffees. Drinks here are served alongside a pot of crisps. It might not give us premium feeling as nuts, but they are very tasty and are served in a dish rather than a bag. I've always found that the crew are really on the ball when it comes to drink top-ups as well. I've never sat with an empty or even slightly low class for long before the crew are around to ask if they can get me another or top me up. After that initial drink service has been completed, it's time for the main meal. In all cabin classes, meals can be pre-ordered. This means you don't need to worry about not getting what you want if you sat further back in the cabin, which is fantastic. And not getting your first choice of meal can definitely be an issue on BA if you're further back. Plus, in upper class there are additional items available for pre-order that you'll not find on the in-flight menu, which gives you a wider choice available on Virgin. Your table is set with either a proper tablecloth or a small purple mat depending on the aircraft type, and you'll be served bread and butter whilst waiting for the starter. The table will also include the gold version of Virgin Atlantic's iconic salt and pepper shakers that they do gently encourage stealing. To start, I've actually always gone for the soup, which has been absolutely delicious. Main courses have also always been really tasty for me. Virgin tend to lean more towards comfort food rather than anything fancy, so although the meal options won't sound particularly elevated compared to some other airlines, and the options do feel a bit less ambitious than some of BA's, it has all at least been high quality and in my experience more consistently good than I've had with BA. Portion size does tend to be on the smaller side compared to BA though. For dessert you can expect a small and tasty bite like a sticky toffee pudding, and you'll also be able to get a cheese course. Between the meals you've got access to a lounge or bar space. These are great in theory, as it's fantastic to have a separate place to go that's away from your seat where you can socialise, and these are usually stocked with drinks and snacks. But I do find these areas are pretty underutilised, and I've never actually been on a flight where anyone has sat here. The crew will also come through the cabin with additional snacks like sorbet. You'll get a second meal service, and on daytime flights this will almost always be Virgin's Mile High Tea. The presentation and quality are good, and it makes for a nice second meal service. Overall, whilst BA offer larger meals that can be excellent, I've been frequently let down by the quality. Virgin's options have consistently tasted better across all of my recent flights with these airlines, and they have a better drinks offering than BA too. For me, Virgin get the win here. Next up, we've got quite an important category for me, and something I touched on when discussing the food and drink, and that is the service from the crew. At times on BA it can be fantastic, but other times it's either non-existent or just plain bad. The majority of the time though, I tend to find it's probably somewhere in the middle. Just okay. Nothing that'll blow you away, but hopefully nothing that'll leave you too disappointed either. Although, more recently, my experiences have been a bit more on that disappointing side. In contrast to this, I've always had really excellent service and very friendly service with Virgin. They've always been very attentive, checking in regularly to see if there's anything else they can get me, and I'm yet to encounter a member of Virgin crew who hasn't been incredibly friendly. Virgin take a comfortable win on this one for me, but I do have a few long haul flights with BA coming up, so there will be some opportunities for them to sway me on this in the future. After your meal and drinks, you might turn to the entertainment, and BA and Virgin I find are pretty well matched in this area. Both have a great library of movies and TV shows, screens are generally good but sometimes poor on their older aircraft, both have decent, if not amazing, earphones that are provided, and both are rolling out free Starlink Wi-Fi across their fleet. BA were the first to get this installed on one of their aircraft, but Virgin have overtaken them with the speed of their rollout, and as such you're now much more likely to have Starlink on a Virgin flight now. That said, the terrible screen on their older and most common upper class seat type does hold them back a bit. I find this one really hard to judge on, so I'm giving it a tie. But if you don't want the entertainment, you might instead try and get some sleep, and sleep quality can vary depending on the seat type of each airline. Starting with BA, both seat types use the same bedding from the White Company. The pillow here is really great, as is the blanket, but the mattress topper leaves a lot to be desired. It offers barely any padding, doesn't cover much of the seat, and as it's not fitted it moves around a lot as you try to sleep. Both seat types offer a lie flat bed, but on the Club Suite your feet will be in a restricted foot cubby that can limit the comfort for taller passengers. In the older seat there's no cubby, making it more spacious and comfortable for your legs. Plus, if you're in a window seat with a privacy divider up, it's an incredibly private space. A few trade-offs with this though. If you're in an aisle seat, someone might need to step over your legs whilst you're sleeping to get out to the aisle, which is not ideal. And additionally, the footstool makes up part of the bed, and sometimes these don't hold in place well. In Virgin Upper Class you can change into your provided pyjamas, which are really comfortable, and the crew will proactively offer to set up your bed. In the old coffin class, the seat folds forward, revealing a lie-flat bed on the other side, so you can't quickly and easily transition between completely lie-flat and reclined positions. The bed here is a little on the narrow and firm side, but I've managed to sleep okay in it. It won't be a comfortable choice for wide passengers, and anyone much taller than 6 feet will likely struggle with the bed length too. In the A350, I found the bed comfortable and spacious, but it is worth noting that I was in the bulkhead for this flight and it does have a wider foot cubby, so this will be a bit more restricted further back. And then in the A330-900 Neo, I found the bed really comfortable for sleeping on my side, but lying on my back it definitely felt on the narrow side. This is another close one. I think the BA bed is a bit more spacious generally speaking, but for me, having the much better mattress topper and the provided pyjamas just add an extra layer of comfort that you don't get on the BA flights, so a slight win for Virgin here. And so my somewhat arbitrary categories give a clear win overall to Virgin with a score of 7-2, but it's not quite as clear cut as that score would suggest. Which one you prefer will really depend on which of those elements you actually value more highly. If the seat, for example, is far and away the most important factor for you, then you'd be much better off on BA. And of course, the cash price or reward seat availability of comparable flights between the two airlines is also likely going to be a considerable factor when deciding which to fly. For example, it's typically much easier for me to find Avios availability with BA than Reward Saver availability with Virgin. Plus, if I'm paying cash for BA, I can earn towards status with the Oneworld Alliance, which I value more highly than SkyTeam status with Virgin. And of course, BA have a very significant advantage when it comes to route network. So whilst I may enjoy my flights with Virgin a lot more than my flights with BA, that's not always going to be the deciding factor on which airline I fly. Let me know though in the comments which airline you prefer to fly in business class, and if you want to see what either airline is like across all classes of travel, watch one of these videos next. Thanks for watching.